And the beginning of Bhagavad Gita is with this proposition that you are not this body. Dehinasmin jatha dehi kaumara jovanang jara. The body is growing because I am sitting within this body. A child grows so long the soul is there. If a child takes birth, dead body, it does not grow. That means the soul is not there. That is called dead. So this preliminary knowledge one has to learn. That is called Brahma Jigyasa. The Bhagavad Gita begins from this point, that I am not this body. So this is the function of human activity, is to know oneself what he is, and then begin his work. And if he works simply just like animal, eating, sleeping, mating and defending, these are animal activities. If you simply endeavor for eating whole day and night, and if you are satisfied whatever you like to eat, and you think that my mission of life is finished, now my belly is full with foodstuff, well, that is not human civilization. But in this age, people are degrading so much that at the end of the day, if he can have a full belly meal, he says, so I am now satisfied. Just like animal. Or if I can sleep in a nice apartment, I am very happy. Or if I can mate with a beautiful opposite sex, I am happy. These are animal happiness. Actual human happiness is not simply to meet the bodily demands. That is called Brahma Jigyasa, Athata Brahma Jigyasa. Now, where to inquire about this Brahma, about oneself, that is the next question. Just like if you want to learn something about medical science, you have to approach some medical man, or you have to take admission in some medical school or college. Or if you want to learn about engineering, you have to seek after somebody who knows engineering or technology. That is the way of education. So many universities and Department of Knowledge teaching, different Department of Knowledge. Similarly, if you want to learn about yourself, Brahma, then you have to seek after some teacher who can teach you about yourself. This is common knowledge. This is common knowledge. So, all the Vedic literature says that in order to learn that transcendental science about yourself or about God, then tad vijnanatham sa gurumeva avigachet. In order to learn that science, don't manufacture, but scientific way, if you want to learn, tad vijnanatham sa gurumeva gurum eva avigachet. Guru means spiritual master. Eva means certain. Not that if somebody thinks, oh, I can learn about myself without approaching any spiritual master. That is wrong. Actually, eva means certainly, one must. And this verb, gachet, is used where this sense is used, must. Gachet, must go.
The citizens of Surat would greet us with sandalwood paste and kumkum, and many times they would come and give us bananas and mangoes and whatever kind of fruit they had, and we were pulled into people's houses from the middle of kirtan and offered, a cold lassi or some sweets, and the whole town was just suffused with Krishna consciousness. The entire town was on fire with devotion. They made us even more spiritual and more devotional. We'd done Harinam in many places, but the people made this an experience of a lifetime. And Prabhupada was tireless. He would speak nonstop. He would greet the children and give them the little sweets, and he would sit for hours and have darshan with thousands of people. People were just so kind to us and so genuinely sweet.
Prabhupada said when we were in Surat, this is a city of devotees. They basically closed the whole town off for Prabhupada. They would close off streets and have parades with him, and every shop would shut down. The man who we stayed at his home, Bhagabhai Jariwala, was a beautiful, small-bodied, elderly, very healthy-looking Indian banker. I remember we all had dysentery there, too. It was pretty serious, 20 sick devotees. And they just took care of us. They just kept taking care of us. Whatever we needed, they would take care of it. And at the end, when we left, Bhagabhai Jariwala talked, and he said, I want to thank all of you for this wonderful experience. It's been an honor to serve you. And please forgive me for any offenses I've committed. And he started crying. And Prabhupada looked over at us and he said, just see, this is a Vaishnav. And then he gave us all money after we had been offensive and sick in his house. But they never took offense. They never took the whole family. They just served and served and served and served and served.
I remember in one town where we arrived, that the whole town had closed shop. The mayor came, everyone came to the train station. In other words, the whole town closed down to greet us, to greet Prabhupada. And I don't know who was the mayor, but some dignitary said that even if Indira Gandhi had come to this town, she would not have received the reception that they have organized for Prabhupada. And especially this program in Surat, every day they would take us to a different part of the town to do Harinam. And the devotees were just received like they had just, flown in from a heavenly planet. I mean, it was just overwhelming. I remember at one point I started weeping because I could understand that this is what's meant by Lord Chaitanya's mercy and the flood of the Sankirtan movement. Because just a few years before, we were just on the street, vagrants and hippies and whatever. I mean, the potency of Prabhupada was manifested through his early disciples in settings like Surat in India, where people by the thousands, I mean, they were hanging out the window off the roof in the street. It was packed wall to wall, just enough room for the devotees to pass through. But they were so enchanted, mesmerized by the presence of the devotees chanting Hare Krishna. You could understand that this was because of Prabhupada. We were just following behind him like, little ducklings follow the mother.
Sometimes gentlemen would come to meet Srila Prabhupada and discuss with him. Once I was struck when Srila Prabhupada told one gentleman that the government of India should have a department of Bhagavad Gita. That Bhagavad Gita is the greatest asset of India, and it should be preached all over the world. But then he said, unfortunately, the government is neglecting. Quite often, he would say that India's ambassadors go all over the world and beg, give me money, give me rice, give me this, give me that. And Srila Prabhupada said, but I am going not to beg, but to give. I'm giving the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, and people are appreciating.
Prabhupada took us to Vrindavan, and this was like the ultimate experience for us. Prabhupada coming back to his spiritual home with so many sons and daughters. This was the high point of our India experience with Srila Prabhupada, entering the magic spiritual realm of Krishna itself. Everything he had been teaching us for years came into focus. We could see now, oh, this is Vrindavan. Such intimate, sweet exchanges we had.
After the first meeting of Srila Prabhupada in 1970, then Srila Prabhupada started giving many instructions. And since I was still a PhD student at the University of California at Irvine, whenever Prabhupada came to New Dwarka, Los Angeles, I used to come and have darshan of Srila Prabhupada regularly. And the main program was to join Srila Prabhupada in the morning walk. And that morning walk was a very animated discussion, and basically about the role of scientists in the modern world and how to give them some principles of Krishna consciousness.
We could hear the Bhagavatam class in our individual apartments through an intercom, and so we knew when it was time to rush into the temple to bring our kids up for cookies. Prabhupada once said that if you want to make a friend, you give him a cookie. There was a whole assembly of kids in the Los Angeles temple in the old temple room. And my son, Bhaktarupa, wanted some kartals that Chandrasekhar was playing. And he was a whole lot bigger than my son. So he tried to grab for the kartals, and when he couldn't get them away, he started to cry. Prabhupada leaned over with his kartals and handed me the kartals, and then he kind of nodded for me to give them to Bhaktarupa, which I did. And Bhaktarupa stopped crying, and he just stared at Prabhupada, and he kind of froze. Prabhupada smiled, and he began to play them, and everybody was happy. It was the greatest satisfaction as a mother to have your child, your son, be blessed by the spiritual master. It was unparalleled.
Most of the kids are really small. So my son began to pick up the kids, the little ones, because you can see they're having a hard time. Some of them can't quite get the cookie and whatnot. This is the morning where Prabhupada did not give Raghunath a cookie. Usually after Raghunath would hold the little child out to get the cookie, then Prabhupada would give him one. I understood that, this is the spiritual master and just whatever he does is perfect, but I was really upset. How come my son didn't get a cookie? Everybody else did. Raghunath, he just kind of accepted, oh, I didn't get one? Okay, I didn't get a cookie. Yeah, see Raghunath bringing another little kid out. So the next morning, when Srila Prabhupada would come down from his quarters on the side stairs, and Karandar would drive the Rolls Royce up to take Srila Prabhupada on his morning walk, and Raghunath and I were out there. Oh, look, Raghunath took a cookie. He didn't get one. So the big sannyasis were there, and they were going to go on the morning walk to Venice Beach with Prabhupada. And he motioned to Raghu to come, and had Raghunath come inside the car and sit next to him. And for the next 2 or 3 mornings, he took Raghu on the morning walk with him. And so I thought, Raghu didn't get a cookie, but Raghu got to go on the morning walk. So the pure devotee always does wonderful things.
Hare Hare